I'm Big Bob.
And I'm Ann.
What's up? What's up, Big Bob? What's up, Ann? Ann is out sick today, so we're gonna run our What's Up, Big Bob and Ann show without Ann. Oh well. Um, as it is our tradition, the first things we do is we give a shout out to Brenda Ringwood, who is our executive producer and the founder of Being a Better You, a foundation that both of us
Are part of.
are part of. Did you just move my screen?
Yes, I need
Well,
it.
you're a total control freak, aren't you?
I'm not. I just need to make sure you look good.
All right. So Dr. Regina Platt is our special guest today, and we're going to do a deep dive into things that neither one of us really wanted to know before, but here she is. And so we're going to have a great conversation. One of the legs of becoming a better you is community service.
Yes.
You've spent your life, adult life, anyways.
Oh, youth life as well in community service.
So you've always been a giver.
I've always been. I don't remember a point when I was not a servant leader. Some of my greatest memories I had were serving.
That's a beautiful thing. I believe now it's not about me, it's about what I can do for other people. And it's taken me a long time to get there because I was so concerned about me that I couldn't take care of other people along the way. I mean, I did, but it was my primary concern. Now it is. I don't have that many more years left, and I want to make sure I give back what I can. What do you do for a job? I mean, you're on somebody's payroll, right?
Yeah. So currently I serve for the Topeka Center for Peace and Justice. And in that position, I am the restorative justice manager. So in that breakdown, I am a restorative practitioner and a mediator.
Who do you mediate?
Um, Currently, the majority of my cases are young people who have been involved in the criminal justice system and have chosen to take diversion. Their program, the best way for them to deal with their situation, they go through diversion. And so, the mediation POP program, victim offender mediation, or parent adolescent mediation are a process that we allow them to work through. So we partner with the Department of
Judicial.
Juvenile Justice.
Okay. Uh, Interesting conversation. Why is juvenile crime on the rise?
Um, That's a big question. That's loaded right there.
Well, let's
So,
say, okay, I'm sorry. Um, we'll start with something easier. Uh, where did you grow up? I don't
he's
care
so
about
sweet.
that.
He's so sweet. But no, it's a loaded question because when we deal with families who are broken, right? We deal with individuals who are broken. Individuals who are broken give birth to children who are broken. And so, in the same sense, it's we have to go in and do the healing work. So, part of our work is restorative practices, restorative justice. We help with advocating the voice, knowing the services or what is needed. And so, a lot of times, these young people. Yesterday, I was in a meeting and they were talking about young girls and young children who were being sexually assaulted, and it's being said like, "We're going to the playground. I'm going to go to the playground with you."
Yeah, isn't that sad?
Yeah,
Our society has turned so dark so fast in what is normal behavior.
yeah.
I mean,
So
when I was growing up, uh, we didn't hear about this stuff every day on the 6 o'clock news.
yes.
It wasn't as prevalent it is today. What qualifies you? You have a specific education, or is it just experience, life experiences?
So my back line of experiences in business administration, restorative justice. I was certified through Colorado University. KIP
Oh,
Core.
wait, is that an accredited school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. KIP Core is actually through Bethel. They actually did my first initial restorative justice training. I was trained by Kay Prentice in my circle keeping process that I actually, so I've had vast training. Like I've been through so many different sessions. There's never enough because you're always dealing with another population.
What is changing in your job description the
Um,
fastest?
how you do it. Like right now, I'm actually creating all the programming for how we're doing it, how we're going into the school system, how we, and when I say how, it's how you implement and be able to transform instead of going by a documented time to say, hey, we're going to allot an hour, we're going to go through this session, this curriculum. Now it's most often you're meeting the needs of the student and the educators right where they are.
Is there some resentment by the juvenile that someone is trying to counsel him that he's the smartest guy in the room or she's the smartest person in the room and they don't want your help?
I love that you asked that. No, because with restorative, what it is you bring them into community building, dialogue circles. And so everyone has a voice. What happens is that we are all placed at one level instead of the hierarchy tier. Now everyone comes down to one level. And through using our centerpiece that everyone can identify their value and belief systems, and then the talking piece, then that means that I am listening from my heart. Not only am I listening from my heart, but I speak from my heart in that space.
You are articulate, you are intelligent, you're educated. Do you have to dummy it down to some of these 16, 18-year-old kids because they can't relate to someone who is so much better at expressing themselves than you are?
I would say life experience tells the story. So your life experience in the circle process is where I bring them back into. And so instead of as I'm speaking to them, speaking from the book, I speak from the life experience and take them on the journey with me.
I was a juvenile delinquent. I just got lucky. I never got caught. But yeah, if the lights had gone on 5 minutes earlier, I would have been in a lot of problems growing up.
Well, Bob, I would have too.
Right.
And I think that's my call to this work is I needed someone there for me. Instead of them seeing the pregnant teen girl or seeing the violence, the angry, if they could have seen the heart of me. And part of my work is I'm called in to see the internal of the person.
Do you have to deal with a lot of gang members?
I do. I do.
Are you red or blue?
I'm not red or blue.
Okay.
You know what I rep. You know what I rep. I'm not red or blue.
Okay. But is that still a relevant
Red.
conversation?
I mean, more nowadays they rep streets.
Okay.
And so with zip codes.
Really?
Oh yeah.
So a gang could be a zip code.
So even within the color red, right? You have you really have to have it. So you have your Bloods, you have your 49, you have your Vice Lords, you have, if we identify by some color pieces, right? And blue, you have your Crips, you have your Trey 5-7s, you have, but all of them are under one. And then you have your Sorrentos, and you have your, like, it's so you have all these different sectors, but the sector may be in a zip code, and the zip code based off the zip code or based off the street, they may have issues with each other.
Don't they realize that they are the same? I mean, it literally is my brother, my neighbor, and there are gang wars going up against brothers and neighbors over pettiness.
It comes from the environment. A lot of times with the environment that you're raised in, what you see, it becomes your part of your belief system, your value system, the norm for you. And it's a little hard. I grew up in the environment. I grew up in a house where there was 3 different sets in the house. That was
Is this Romeo and Juliet? A couple hundred years later. I mean, the two warring factions are neighbors, and they see each other every day on the streets.
In a sense, sometimes it's when the young people are talking and you sit back and you have a conversation. It's like being displaced without family, growing up in single parent households, growing up, some mom wasn't there nor father there, growing up in poverty and needing a way to get a meal. It was easier to connect with this group, this organization, so that you could have those supports. Um, and when I say group, I say organization. They have the whole. You go in and study. There's a whole business, pretty much approach and outline to how they operate and move. People are elected into positions. Like,
Dr. Platt, are good kids drawn into this because they have
yes,
no other place to go?
yes.
Can you save the good kids?
I think when you allow them to see that they can save themselves,
Can you save the bad kids?
when you allow them to see that who they are themselves. So part of the work is giving them the space and challenging them through conversing in dialogue that allows them, not conversing in you wrong, you did that, look at you. Conversing in what are some things that
All right. Is the influx from the Mexican border affecting Topeka and the inner city much?
I wouldn't say that it's a in our gang
Right.
activity. No, I'm not going to say that. I would say that I've watched in Topeka our growth in the businesses, home ownership within the Latino community. I've watched I've watched growth. I've watched areas be transformed. And so some of the areas that I'm seeing harm being done is like I named off the single parent, the households where there's mass incarceration from generation
Right.
to generation.
So I'm old school in a lot of ways. Um, I believe single parent, no father in the household, um, is probably more at the root cause of a lot of the urban problems than anything else. I believe that if a man has a job, a house, a family, he will protect his neighborhood with his life. But if he doesn't have anything, he has nothing to lose. And so a kid grows up without that male macho, I will protect my house, my family, and my neighborhood, and it's transferred into the gang mentality as a substitution. And I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah. Some of it is when you look at the mental in Topeka, some of the things I would consider is we had Meningers, which was a big supporter and held a lot of people who have mental illnesses or some type of psychotic, whatever it was, they were held there. There was a big release, but there was never the supports that were put in place, right? And so when I look through Topeka, in the area I stay, when I look through Kansas, a lot of it was we were not doing a holistic approach. Right. The whole man had to be dealt with, not just give them fish.
Oh,
And you said not just give them
well,
a
I got
fish.
this up on my wall.
Yeah.
People, the front door says free fishing poles and free bait, and the back door says free fish, and the line is a mile long for the free fish because nobody wants to learn how to do it for themselves. Um, do you find boys or girls easier to work with?
Oh, I work with both of them. I've spent 15 to no, maybe 20 years of my life working in the criminal justice system in some format, whether it was in PRTFs in a wilderness
Right.
camp. So my background, and so I've worked in a variety. It's different techniques. It's not the same.
So okay, what do you think the problem is, and how do you solve the problem with incarcerations for misdemeanor crimes? I mean, we all agree that violent crime, violent criminals probably should be taken away from society and put off to the side until they have a chance to uh, get help before they come back. But a lot of the misdemeanors and a lot of the nonviolent crimes are treated the same way. I personally feel that society has let us down um, by incarcerating people with a first mistake that was nonviolent.
So mass incarceration on any level is hurtful to the community. When we take even in violent crimes, there's a system or way we can work with it. To incarcerate and throw behind prison walls does not actually correct the situation. They call it corrections. It's not really that it's correcting. A lot of times they're learning more behaviors that they would have
Okay,
never
so
known.
what's the
So
solution?
so part of the solution is providing adequate services ahead of time. And so when we look at the misdemeanor charges, a lot of times these misdemeanor charges that we're getting, right? We get misdemeanor charges for shoplifting. We get misdemeanor charges for destroying property. We get misdemeanor charges in your day, right? And some in my day as well. They would have took them to go. You break in, you mess up property. You had to go out and you had to do the cleanup on that property.
Right.
You stole something from a store, you had to work so many hours. We have monopolies and major companies who uh, they just have that authority and power that they just press charges. They don't even want to do with it.
What's the solution?
What's the solution to deal with the whole heart
Well,
of
you
the
can't.
matter?
Okay, so I, I understand. There was an expression, I don't know, maybe 50 years ago. This is a lost generation. We can't fix this generation.
No,
So
sir.
let's start working on the next generation.
Hmm.
Well, we didn't fix any generation. We haven't fixed the problem in 50 years or longer. So the answer isn't let's start working with the 3 year olds to make sure they don't become criminals. What do we do with the guys today to make sure that they have a better chance of fitting back into society without doing harm to society?
I say this still, it has to be that they have a decision to make, but you have to give a safe space where real issues and topics can be dealt with, and all voices must be heard, not just the voices at the top, but through every part of the channel. And again, what we do today, what we address today, we may not even see any residue or a result from that until 3 to 4 generations down the line. But we have to be willing to remain consistent and do the work to wait out that time until we see that change happening. And sometimes the moment you make another mistake, right? The moment you say the wrong words, sometimes we quickly as human beings go, I told you he wasn't going to make it. I told you she wasn't going to make it. They're still in the process. Understand there's a space allotted for processing. If the prodigal son never returned home, after if he never went out, he never would have known the value of being home.
Okay. If I had the magic wand,
Mm-hmm.
and since I have the only time I've ever been in a jail is to bail a friend out. I mean, I've been blessed that way. Um, there would be incarceration for violent crimes. They would be taken away, and because we can't afford, especially a second time, we can't afford violence on our streets. We don't want violence on our streets. That's not part of the society anybody wants to live in when there's violence on the streets, whether it is violence where people get hurt or killed. But all other crimes, I think they should be given second or third chances. But how do we re educate them so that they will fit back into society without doing damage to society over and over and over again?
I want to say this part to you. In a we are America operates through a violent system. We're a system that takes and takes and takes. America, I love my country, but we we operate based off of what's going to work better, best for the greater good, right? Not best for the family that may not have had food, water, or shelter in that day. So we have organizations, we have institutions that are established. We got to keep them in, because if we keep them in, then we're able to operate and keep the system flowing. So if we And then the American people pay for this. The American people pay for this harms that have been done. But if we would have gave the food, if we would have gave the education, if we would have, when you look in the criminal justice system, and so I would say the state prison for youth, even go to the state prison system, you will notice that a lot of them were not educated. A lot of them, the school to prison pipeline began some in kindergarten.
All right. There is no perfect society on
No,
this planet.
no,
Um, we are not a perfect society. We might not even be the best society on the planet, but it's our society.
it's ours.
Okay. I read someplace that Baltimore, the city of Baltimore, got more tax dollars per student than any other student in the world. More tax dollars were being spent per student in Baltimore than any other place in the world, and they're still not educating their kids. So you can't say money fixes the problem.
Never would I say that.
Right. So money doesn't fix the problem. What fixes the problem?
It's a whole bunch of pieces to that. Like you literally.
Well,
as
you're
as I
much
saw-
better. You're in a much better position to have a informed decision, form opinion than I am.
And it's the whole. Like I said, we want to address parts of the person, or parts of the family, or parts of the community. But until we come with a holistic approach, part of the village piece that we all came through, our ancestors did, where they wrapped around one another, was what I didn't see you see, right? And there are some things that me and you have addressed that we talked about that my eyes would have never seen because I grew up in poverty, right? And so you coming to me and saying, hey, that's a poverty mindset. You can see it's a poverty mindset because you're not in a box, right? And it's the way you come with me. The relationship is a fixer of a lot of these things that we struggle with, because in relationship, there's resources. In relationship, there's connection. In relationship, there's understanding. There's intimacy. It's not that you're stripping me or demeaning me to show me what you see in me.
When you said society, it kicked the thought out. Yesterday, I read that in the history of human beings, there have been 21 different species of humans. Today, there's only one. Homo sapiens, there's only one species of humans. But in the history of our planet, there have been 21 different species of humans. The strong survive, right? Maybe not the strong. Whatever nature provides, something survives and something doesn't.
Yeah.
If I had the magic wand, I think I'd fix the problem.
What's the problem?
The problem is I would tear down the city, move everybody out into a vacant piece of land of thousands of acres and saying, you got a 10-year job to help us build the city. And we're going to build schools and businesses and factories and neighborhoods, and we are going to build you a city.
So we'll start again.
Start again. Tear down the slum. Tear down the culture in the slum that is violent, drug infested, and uneducated. Tear it down, start all over. Wyoming's a great place to go. Montana might be a great place to go. Up, whatever. Canada might be a great place to go. The United States of America, 3% of our land is occupied. Only 3% of the land is occupied by people. We have the land resources. Tear down the failures, start all over.
So I'm gonna say this: land is a big piece that I think, as humans, in this day and time, we've disconnected from, and so we misuse what's been given. And so for me, the use of percent of the land is not, because the land that we're on, how are we using what we're on, right? How are we valuing what we're on? And so to go out and dismantle what actually keeps our oxygen and keeps us breathing and keep us purified.
Plant more trees, right?
Well, and then we still have to go through the process of allowing the trees to grow, right? And allowing the trees to develop. And some of what we see right now, think about a lot of times we don't even know the history of the land we're on, or the history of the trees, or the history just of every grain, of every inkling, of everything that we don't value. And so if we disvalue what's been given to us as a stage for us to occupy, how is it that we are to value you when I come in contact? I watch human response. If it's not me getting something or me feeling valued by something, I devalue. But when would it come to the point where I can value everyone I come in contact with?
Okay. I've heard you speak 3,
Mhm.
4 times.
It's more than that.
No, not this kind of speak.
Yeah.
When you're up on a stage, speak. You are one of the most inspirational speakers I've ever heard in my life. I was an athlete, so I went through a lot of pregame, rah rah, kick them in the butt type of let's go out there and kick ass pregame speeches and halftime speeches and MFing speeches at the end of the game because we didn't win. I've heard hundreds of them. What you say when you flip that switch is pure inspiration, motivation. Do you have to flip a switch, or is it there all the time and you got to hold it back?
It's there all the time, and I have to hold it back.
Because
And you asked that question. Thank you for asking it in that way. It's there, and it comes when I walk in and I'm standing in front of an audience, or and Bryn has seen this, several others have seen this. And as I'm talking to everyone and holding space with you and connecting with you, the message will be given to me. So regardless of if I wrote something out, I could hear a song and then see the people, and that one hug would actually release the message before I walk before them.
divine,
I would call it divine.
um, you're very religious,
Uh-huh.
spiritual or religious, or both.
I would say I don't like to use any of those uh terminologies. Is I'm a God girl.
Well, let me tell you,
That's how I'm
make it
saying.
easier.
I'm God girl.
I believe religious is you have um, a congregation that all prays the same way, and
No, not that.
that's how you connect to community. And spiritual is a one-on-one relationship with our Creator.
Okay. So
It's a religion of one.
okay. So
I have a religion of one, by the way. Right?
I do know that.
Okay.
I do know
So I'm spiritual, but I'm not terribly religious.
that. Okay.
Right?
So I do, but I worship. I do the whole 9 yards. But I'm gonna tell you, relationship is very vital and important to me. And so, regardless of rituals and routines, I co-host Safe in His Arms revivals.
I've heard of that.
Yes,
Tell me about that.
Oh, Safe in His Arms revivals. So me and my lovely co-host on God's platform, Brenda Ringwood, we
I've
literally.
heard of her too.
Oh, she's such an amazing lady. So we literally came together with a group of individuals, and we had a conversation, and we were preparing, and God gave me Safe in His Arms. He gave me scripture, and we attached the revival piece of that. He told us that he wanted, again, after people had went through 2020 and some of their circumstances, he said the kingdom, it still doesn't feel safe. And so revival is not to save the unsaved. Revival is to revive those that have already had salvation.
This is not a tent thing, is it?
I mean, we don't got no tent, but actually we go.
When I think of revivals, I think of the
he going to old
hallelujah
school.
tents.
I mean, we hallelujah up in there, but
Right.
you know, we actually, churches open up their doors to us all over the country. As you invite us in, we come in. As we come in, we normally there's at least 10 speakers. Most are actually in ministry in some format from different diverse backgrounds. And they come in, songsters come in, and there's worship. There's true flow of worship and prayer and words that are, I guess, that spirit of
Inspirational.
inspiration. It's there. Most I've had a variety. We hosted a revival at a Spanish speaking church. A couple times we were there.
How's your Spanish?
I have no Spanish. I
Oh,
was
come
using
on.
earplugs so I can
You
hear
you
it.
know how to speak some.
I can say, ¿cómo está? I can
Oh, muy
say,
bien, y
uh,
tú?
I can say, sí, you know, I can just say, me llamo Regina. So there's a variety of things I can say, but they're very minimal. Gracias.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, as we go in, you go in and the worship is so high. Um, it's different diverse backgrounds. I think our first one we had, uh when we got to that church, someone from Ghana was there speaking. You had people who were from different Hispanic region countries. You had blacks, whites, you had people with Jewish faith. It was just so loving to be in a space where it was not dependent upon any rituals or
That's
routine.
spiritual. That's
It
not
was
religious.
it was
I
beautiful.
love spirit. Religion, I've always found religion to be manipulative, self-serving, egotistical from the pulpit down. For the majority, not all of them. So my best friends are pastors, preachers, and rabbis
Right.
and bishops, but most of them I find to be very self-serving instead of serving the community and the needs, the emotional needs.
Yeah.
Um, so I love spiritual connection.
Yeah, it's very heartfelt. We look to see as well. I do kingdom lessons, release blessings. At one point I was doing 5 days a week. I'm now down to 3 days a week, and I think that's consistent for me because even though you have a passion, doesn't mean that you're gonna stay gassed up where you can do
you
everything and
you
all the
have such
things.
when we started this whole thing about service, you really do serve.
Yes,
You serve our community in every endeavor that you take part of.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
everything you do is about service. What
Yeah.
do you do for yourself?
That is part of what I'm working on.
I mean, you play pickleball?
No, I don't play pickleball. So what I do for my part of my service is a self thing. Being involved with youth has always been very important for me. The revivals, I do street revivals as well. Here in actually the Kansas City region, I've done street revivals in partnership with
That
others.
sounds like a musical.
Yes, it's a variety. You have dancing, singing, a word. I'm normally the person that gives the word in those spaces. Um, I think one of the things that I'm working on as I'm walking through this life, traveling is a big thing for me.
You like to
I
travel?
love to travel. I like meeting new people. So I like walking up on people and actually sitting there like I'm quiet and I'm like nervous and then allowing them to just open up to me because they think I'm the little nerd until they find out I'm not. And then watching their cups overflow as they exit for me is
You
like,
see that.
yeah,
You really
it's
see that
yes.
because that's the effect you have on me. That
Yes.
I mean,
I'm like,
after we have a conversation, I feel full
yes, I
because
thank you.
you inspire me. You have brought you have brought you have helped me become a better version of myself, which is all about BTBY is becoming a better you. And sometimes you need a guide or an inspiration or a motivator or a coach
Yeah.
to turn the switch on so that you can become a better you. And then you light the path sometimes to show them how they can actually become who they want to become. So when I'm talking to a young person, one of the things I always say is, who do you want to become?
Mm,
Not what do you want to be? Who do you want to become? Because you get to choose the path to become that person,
yeah.
right? And how do you choose the path to become the person you want to become? You find somebody to emulate and ask them to show you the path. And if that doesn't work, find somebody else or find 4 or 5 people. But the great goal in life is to become the person you want to become.
Well, being a socialized species, right? One of the things is we learn everything through socialization, through connecting. That's how we gain our understanding, even our belief process, our values. We gain it through what we've seen, what we've heard, what's we've seen, heard, and it touched us, right? And so step into your rhythm, right?
Oh,
That
I
is
love that.
step into your
How did you
rhythm.
start? Tell me how that started.
So in
Well,
2018,
first of all,
ooh,
tell them what step it is.
so I am the stepologist, Dr. Regina Platt, right? And as the stepologist, it's the study of one steps, right? It's the you acknowledging that you've been taking steps your whole entire existence. I didn't say your life. I said your existence, right? From the time it was mom, it was dad, and they come together on this journey and they do what grown people do, right? Or whoever people do, right? And there was this connection where as you were released to enter into your mother's womb. You was fighting, right? There was like 4 million, 4 trillion that you other specimens that you were fighting, but you understood that I want to become, right? Even in the spiritual realm, I want to become. And so you were able to fight your way through all the clutter, all the stuff. You didn't
Wow.
focus on nothing
Wow.
but you.
Wow. Wait a second. So it wasn't nature.
No, no, it wasn't.
It was a determination of that one over here, one over there. We're gonna hook up and we're gonna make it happen.
You were a winner. You were a
Oh,
winner
damn.
before
I
you
love that.
ever knew
Wow.
that it would be you. You were a winner.
Winner.
So, so then as you go through this process, right, and you come into when it came time to learn how to walk, right? You or crawl, right? You fell, but you took another step and you tried. You got up and you tried. Why is it when you get caught between a rock and a hard place, we decide we're gonna lay flat today? Because we forgot we've been conquering steps the whole entire reading. You had to conquer something to learn how to read math. You had to conquer something to learn how to do that.
Let me add English.
You
Whoa. It's not my natural language.
for real?
For real.
You speak it better than me. You kind of country.
Wait a second. The language I grew up with when I was in my mother's womb and when I was a 2-month-old kid, I was communicating, right?
Mm-hmm.
My language. But nobody understood my language. So I had to learn their language. So when you say take a step, well, I had to learn language and I had to give up my natural language
Mm-hmm.
that I was born with. And we are all born with our own unique language, and we all have to conform to mom and dad's language.
Again, we go back. You are a conqueror. It's not by accident that you've conquered some things. It's not by accident that you watch your life be able to grow leaps and bounds through levels. Sometimes we get stuck when we're trying to focus on the big picture. But I would tell you, if you focus on a step, you'll get through it. But if you're focusing on, I got to get way over here. No, if you're focusing
One step at a time.
one step, a runner who's running a marathon, they focus on one step at a time. They know they're going to get to the end. They know, again, they trained to win. They know they're going to get to the end.
I'll help you with this. So I ran track in college. You had to count your steps.
Mm-hmm.
You had to make sure every step was the same uniformed step, the same form, the same acceleration, the same knee height, the same body lean. And if you're doing something like hurdles, literally you have to take X amount of steps between each hurdle. Otherwise, you're out of balance for the next hurdle. And so in that activity, stepping is a science and not just happenstance. You cannot run that hurdle race until you learn all the specific distances of your step, the mechanics of it. It has to be a rhythm to it. It can't just be haphazard. And if you're running a race, you don't go.
No.
You just stay at your pace.
I love the conversation we're in right now. There are some mothers who you thought your kids would already have it. They're being got it. They're being grew past it, but it's stages. And maybe there was a traumatic event that happened, whether they were in the womb with you, in your life, or in their life. They will make it. You have become who you became after going through stages. You didn't know it all. There's some fathers who you're like, I'm trying, I don't understand. I was never fathered. But I tell you, this is a process. You're building a
Absolutely.
legacy. You're laying down a legacy path, but you got to stay with it. You cannot give up.
Dr. Platt, one of the things that I've recently found to be true is we're all broken.
We are gracefully broken.
Some of us have healed,
Hmm.
some of us are healing, but we have all been broken at one point in our life. And to overcome that challenge is one of the great challenges of how to be find happiness, content, and success in life is overcoming the challenges that broke you.
Woo. Some of us haven't even identified
Right.
when we were
Most of
young.
us don't know we're broken.
Yeah.
Most of us say, there's nothing wrong with me, right? My
Hmm.
ego is so strong that there's nothing wrong with me. Yeah, I had some speed bumps in life, but I'm so strong and powerful, I overcame them. We've all been broken.
I would say this: the moment that I realized I didn't know it all was the moment my life began.
Right.
And so for me, I'm gonna tell you all because I'm a little hard at it. Like I'm a hard
No
headed girl.
shit.
So my moment was 2020. Was 20. I was in 2020 when nothing else mattered. Nothing else mattered. We were everything stopped. Everything changed. The voice, the people you had access to, you didn't have access to. My brother died. The guy that I thought I had a 5-year plan that he was gonna have his life together. I was told my brother killed him. It was like, what is this? Where am I at right now? What am I supposed to do?
Oh
People
boy.
were marching and on Capitol grounds and all over the world, right? People were marching. I was able to sit and speak internationally um, on a racial justice summit. Um, and the main person had contacted me from the UK. So, and I was sitting beside my youngest daughter, history, sitting beside my youngest daughter, speaking on a platform about how we move forward in this world. And so everything that I imagined was the only right thing became everything that didn't work no more. And it was
That's
literally
powerful.
it was literally we walking the first time my voice was, and I have been speaking for years. Did commencement graduation. That was the first commencement graduation I spoke in a prison. Was in 2020. But before that point, I had been doing things. I'm at the Kansas State Capitol, and y'all, I'm thicker than a snicker. You know, we all understand that. But I had
Wait,
one
wait,
for
what does that mean?
thicker than a snail. I'm a little big. I'm a little thick. You know, I've been eating them kibbles and bits. But I literally had put on this
I knew what you meant.
this
I
sauna.
just wanted to hear her say it.
I put this sauna suit on, and in 2020 I had time. You know, everything was moving slow. I'm going out, going running, and somebody called me and asked me to go to a protest. They're like, can you go to protest with me? And I'm like, yeah, after I get done. Y'all, they calling. I'm still in this suit. I haven't even made it home yet. I go in the house. I literally remove this sauna suit. You know, do the. I don't even get to take a shower. Put on some Bahama shorts and a little flowy shirt. I don't put a wig on because my hair is so wet at this point. And I go to the Capitol with her, and I get there. And while I'm at the Capitol, I my belief process, the Holy Spirit is saying to me, tell my people to stand up. Y'all, I'm going, I look so bad. I am not together. What do you mean? Tell your people to say, I mean, the Capitol grounds were full, and it was telling my people to stand up. And I was like, I'm not saying nothing to these people while I'm looking like I'm looking in these video cameras. Me and Holy Spirit are having a conversation. I'm like, well, I'm not doing this. And so I'm thinking I'm going to take some pictures, you all, and I'm going to leave and be at prayer on time at my church. I did leave and was at prayer on time. But in between that process, as I'm up on the Capitol stairs taking pictures, a lady looks at me, Ari Davis looks at me and says, do you want the megaphone? And I was like, and the Lord was like, tell my people to stand up. And I get on the megaphone and I say, stand up, stand up, stand up. And everybody begins to chant, stand up, stand up, stand up. And they're chanting. And it's like the grounds are like everything's rising, like in that space. It is so powerful. But the thing was, after he gave me all the messaging to give to him, he said, now calm them. Because if you don't calm them, they're going to tear this city up. And so literally, I have to calm them. Y'all, as soon as I got done, I shot out of there like no other to get to that car so I could leave and be at prayer on time. And news reporters were coming to me. Others were coming. They was like, can we have a copy of your speech you wrote? And I was like, I didn't write no speech. Can we interview you? I was like, no, I was being obedient. I did not come to be seen. I came to serve.
Who's your audience?
It was diverse.
No, not then. No.
Oh, currently my audience is people who are looking to take their next step forward. And so
children, juveniles, old people, retired.
I don't
Christians. What? Who's your?
I would tell you this. I don't think I have and some of you all may define it, but I speak to youth. I speak to women who are at the point where they're ready to come out. Maybe they've been divorced, they've been through domestic violence. Maybe they just stuck. They've done the educational thing, but they've not explored their business part. And they want to explore business or they want to explore serving community. So I've noticed is people that feel stuck and don't know how to get out of their last.
I would have preferred you answer that with everybody.
I did say that.
No,
you said that at first.
Well, you meant to say that. What your audience is every one of us. Your inspiration is for all of us. There is absolutely nobody who will not benefit from hearing your message.
I curtsy to that. I will tell you as well.
Does that mean curtsy?
I mean, this is all I got to do. I'm just. What do you bow and take a bow?
Yeah. Okay.
So one of the things I would say to you all when I speak and I serve because it's service. When I serve, I am served. When I serve,
do you
I'm
write
served.
speeches or do you just open your mouth and it comes out?
I study on the topic matter, but there's words or maybe there's quotes, but there's never a whole page. And so if I had to hand you a page of what I said, it would be a whole nother thing.
All right. Can I ask you a personal question?
You can ask me a personal question.
Thank you. I understood you had a rough day today on your way over here. I don't know. I don't want to know what it was about.
Uh-huh.
I want to know, how did you go from a calm place to being pissed off, say what you have to say, and then get back to that calm? How do you do that?
One is having good people around you, knowing your triggers.
Thank you.
Identifying your triggers. One of my triggers I identify is if I ask for space, give me space. And sometimes some people don't know that about themselves. The other thing is to read the room, right? To read the room. This ain't about where is this coming from? And I was able to say it's coming from, this is a deep season for me. There's a lot of opportunity. I'm loaded. I mean, whoever's watching this, I just need you to say, when you find yourself a little overwhelmed and you know that people are pulling on you and you need to remind yourself that you're loaded. Now, just because
what does that mean?
I'm loaded means I got it. I got the goods. I'm needed. People are.
I'm not up on this new hip, expressions. I'm an old, crabby old man, fat, crabby old man. So.
Oh no, that came last week. It was like, I'm loaded. People are are reaching out to me. People need access. They need help from me, understanding from me. And sometimes to be loaded can be overwhelming if you don't understand how to departmentalize it. And so you're trying to carry everything on your shoulders at one time instead of delegating it to others. And so one of the things that was happening for me was that I'm overloaded and people were needing me right now. They were like, I need you right now. And for me, it was a reminder that you didn't delegate this outright. So they expect you to handle because it's not delegated outright. And so, but the other part was I have to stand up for me. I had to stand up for me. And my sanity was saying, I need a moment. And I was verbalizing that and I wasn't received. So you ain't got to hurt nobody because they don't understand you or they don't perceive you. And then you got to have good people. Good people. I'm talking about quality, safe people that you can call and you can just have a moment and they not think you want them to pick up your baggage, but you're having a moment and they're saying to you, okay, you did it now. Now get out of this. Let's keep moving.
Where do you see yourself 5-10 years?
5 years from now, I actually see Step in Your Rhythm firmly foundationally established. Not only do I see it established, but we'll be in 3 different nations. Not only will we be in 3 different nations, but Safe in His Arms Revival Ministries we will be have a traveling team that will be with us. And not only that, I'm gonna be married. Don't even trip. I'm gonna be married.
Man or woman?
A man.
Okay.
I'm like, come on, bro.
Come on.
Like,
Wait.
I ain't talking about nobody, but you know, I like a man. I like a man.
I'm in a committed relationship.
I already know that. It's my girl.
Right. I just don't want you to get your hopes set too high.
Yeah, he trying to be my husband.
So I think you should make a video.
What video you want me to make?
I think you should do a 30-minute video.
On what?
Step. No. Do what you do, right? And have a video made and send it out. Brenda, I think that would be great if you made a video of Dr. Pratt and use it as one of your tools as you're sending them out to schools.
Absolutely.
Because what you do in that school that I saw you do, you had 200 kids jumping up and down and ready to fly.
Oh, you missed. He missed when we was at Topeka High.
17.
You missed.
Yeah, I saw photographs.
Yeah, and I've spoken at universities. I did 4-H camps at universities. I've spoken in ministries. I've spoken to women.
I could
Just
see
all
you
women.
I could see you being a pastor. I really could. I see you inspiring people.
Let me be
Sunday.
married first. I don't want to go and be a pastor and not married. I need a covering.
All right.
I need a covering when I do that.
Like a beard?
No, because when a woman's in ministry, men is just and just like when a single man is in ministry, women just
right.
And I really would like to be covered and there be
maybe
balance.
That's a good way of finding a man.
To go to ministry. Father, forgive us. But no, in videos, we've done videos. Step into Your Rhythm. Literally, those broadcasts were recorded. We're actually working on hosting a Step into Your Rhythm this June. It's Walking into Your Kingdom. It will be right here in this territory at the ACA. I'm sorry, ACA.
Wait. They have a couple different offices. Which one?
Overland Park, ACA.
Overland Park. That's about 103rd and Metcalf.
Yes, we will be. What's our date for that?
29th.
The 29th of June. We will be in full effect. Not only will we be doing a I'm about to safe in this order, but a Step into Your Rhythm, walking in your kingdom. So the women, we are calling you in to be in a safe space. We will have
walking in your
queendom. And then we having an Emerald Ball that night. That night.
Girls only?
No, we need some mans at the Emerald Ball, some mans. And we wearing green. We gonna look real cute.
Our whole society, men are becoming second-class citizens.
You said crowns and gowns. That's what we doing. And so I'm telling you all, if you are free on June the 29th, that is a good place for you to be,
Do you have
because
a website?
the website's gonna be from Brand. I'm still doing some work on my website. Comechangeyourlife.com. I was looking like a genie on my website when it was first set up.
A genie?
Like literally, I was looking like a genie in a bottle. Like literally, it had me looking like I could tell somebody's fortune or give somebody some wishes.
Okay.
And I was like, we got to reset that, because I'm not a genie in a bottle. I'm the Stepologist.
Dr. Platt.
Dr. Platt.
Thank you very much, babe.
You're welcome.
You are absolutely spectacular. Appreciate it.
Always. Oh, anything for you.
Till next time. Thank you.